that very boarding care that left, she and her husband were doing the same thing like myself and my husband are doing, working for free. And they're aging up as well, and they're becoming more sickly, and they have to weigh, do we continue working for free and wearing ourselves up more and more, or should we let go this home?
Hi friends, welcome to the first episode for Season 4 of Heartforward, Conversations from the Heart. Today we are going to take a look at a slow motion uncrisis unfolding in our state, the steady erosion of precious board and care beds that provide housing for tens of thousands of people with serious mental illness. For some reason, this issue has not reached the level of policy attention than one might expect given the clarion call for more affordable housing and the related impacts on homelessness. Imagine this offer arrives to your consideration. Are you interested to open your home to take care of 6 people and you will receive guaranteed rent? You need to forego any plans for a vacation or a night out. You will be expected to be available 24/7. For the monthly rent, you will be expected to provide 3 meals a day plus snacks, medication management, laundry, staff support, and a comfortable, safe living environment, subject to inspections by the Community Care Licensing Division of the state. Interested? Payment for 6 boarders is $7,800 a month total. Oh, and these boarders will be clients of the local public mental health system and will require varying levels of care and attention. It is confounding that so much effort is focused on shiny new objects, new permanent supportive housing, new affordable housing, converting hotel rooms into housing, building shelters and tiny homes. Yet virtually no one is holding a press conference to commit to preserving a housing resource that already exists. Meet a compassionate couple who have been doing this work for the last 22 years. After we hear their story, stick around for a question I will ask you. Well, hello, good morning, Rhoda and Gochin. It is just so pleasant to be here with you in your house here in the San Fernando Valley on this beautiful sunny day. And I will just point out that we elected to sit outside this morning, so if there's an occasional airplane flying over or a bird, we invite our listeners to enjoy this summer climate with us. So I'm so excited, Rhoda and Gochin, that you have been willing to share your story operating this board and care facility for the last 22 years or so. And so we're going to just kind of talk about your history and about what your experiences are now and some of the challenges that we are encountering in this system throughout the state of California, actually. This is a very precious housing resource that we are losing at an alarming clip. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this work. I know you both you had professional lives, and something motivated you to decide to open up what's known as an adult residential facility a couple decades ago. Who can tell that story?
Thank you so much. It all started as an intern student. It happened to be that this very particular group home was one of those group homes that I did my interning.
And what were you interning in?
Here.
For what kind of studies?
I was interning at Fuller Theological Seminary, which is a psychology. I was doing marriage and family therapy and need to have some hours. So I was able to get a friend that directed me here. Normally, those kind of intern, you don't get pay. But fortunately, the lady was able to give me some money of her choice. Sometimes not. So after I finished this, and then I was doing another intern at Lancaster, which is foster care. So I was teaching classes there at foster care there.
First to care?
Foster care,
okay.
Yes. And then she called me. And through a friend, she has talked to a friend that she really wants to sell this facility, and she will want us to have it.
And were you married at the time?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
We married a long time.
Okay.
Actually, we married in Nigeria.
You were married in Nigeria?
Yeah, before we came here.
Okay.
Yes.
So just tell that story really quick. You met each other in Nigeria.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how did you come to Los Angeles?
How did I come to Los Angeles? I was a pastor and my wife, and Fuller Theological Seminary. We want to start at Fuller Theological Seminary in the church that I was pastoring. So we invited professors, about almost 11, to Nigeria. And so they stayed there. My admission to Fuller Theological Seminary was within the professors and the elder of the church. So, when I came, they said, "Hey, Pastor, can you give us some few minutes?" Because the elders wanted me to go for further studies. So they have completed whatever admission that was. And as a play, when I walk in, Dr. Girland from Fuller said, "Congratulations, Pastor, you come in with us." So that's how I get admission at Fuller.
Excellent. So you, perhaps moving to Los Angeles, did not necessarily expect you would stay here.
No.
All right.
No. But it was because long hours is 350 hours. That is the requirement. And that because it is not easy to get those hours. So I keep on changing. I work most of the group homes. Like I said, foster care, juvenile hall, Booth Memorial in Los Angeles, Claremont, to get the hours.
To get the hours and it was a degree in counseling.
Yes.
Counseling.
Yes.
So at the time you were doing your internship here, what kind of group home was it?
This one, the same.
It was for people with mental illness?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So Rhoda.
Rhoda was a nurse.
Rhoda, you're a nurse by training.
Yes.
Yes, and were you working at the time?
No, when we joined him, I wasn't working. We were like cleaning because I was a spousal support visa.
Spousal support visa.
And he had a visa that he can work. So he signed up with some cleaning company, and in the evenings we go clean offices, clean wherever he's assigned, himself and myself and the children. And after a short while, I got some people on campus that were quadriplegic and they needed caregiver. So I started working there and still go ahead and clean with him until such a time that we found a church that we were working, because the church from home, we are not able at that time to pay our school fees and to pay our living. So we got a church in Pasadena. My husband was the youth minister and I was a Sunday school minister. So we were working and they helped us with paying our rent and how to start life all over. And after that, we all got work permit. And at that point of time, we started working more and paying our rent by ourselves and putting food on the table. And that's how the life started. And we started progressing a little bit at a time. When he graduated, we were able to move into the community and work and pay ourselves, because we couldn't live on campus where we were paying discounted apartment.
As students at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was how our life started. And then he had to take some loans to pay the school fees. And then the time he was finished with school, we have this huge loan that we have to pay back. So we couldn't go back to serve our church at home. we have to work now and pay these debts that we owe for his training. So that's how we got into the system. And then our children like it here. There was no point for us to go back with the loan. If we default on the loan, it wouldn't be nice for people that have co-signed for us to get the loan. And so we saved a little bit. We bought a townhome in Van Nuys, still paying for the loan. And I also have to get involved in loan for my training as well. So it was loan facility that facilitated our education that kept us here.
So
we couldn't go back.
You were then starting to do your training to become a nurse.
Yes.
So, wow. So started with Gochin, got his graduate degree. You begin to work on your education.
Yes.
You are working multiple jobs.
Yes.
Paying off loans. Yeah. Taking on new loans to buy a townhouse. That seems a little stressful. So back to this place right here, it was a group home for people with mental illness, and at some point the owner decided they wanted to hand this over to you. Does that mean that they would sell it to you, or they would expect you to take over the work here? How exactly did that transpire?
Actually, at that time, I was already here, a place called Salvation Army. Uh-huh. I was doing administration there, chemical dependency. Because of the training that I had, they sold it to us because it came the business and
they sold you the business and the real estate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you had to take on another loan.
Yeah, loan on loan.
So that basically started about then 22 years ago, and you actually moved into this place as your home then.
Yeah, eventually, yes, because we were, me, my wife, and 2 children, and we have 6 people here. So it wasn't easy for us to just move over here.
I was wondering that. How many bedrooms are in this home?
3.
3 bedrooms?
Yes.
No, actually 4 bedrooms.
Huh?
4 bedrooms?
Oh, yeah, 4 with the staff room, yes.
So exactly where did your family go, and then you had 6 people boarding here?
Well, we were still at Panorama City.
Oh, you were still in your townhome?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's just talk about board and care homes, because some people who are listening to this podcast are not familiar with what is a board and care home. And I mentioned technically they're called adult residential facilities by the state, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we know them as board and care homes. And they can range from small family homes like this to larger facilities of 60 to 100 people. So obviously this is a good example of the small family style home, and I will say this is a beautiful, peaceful neighborhood in the valley. Mm-hmm. How many people can live in a board and care home, in a family board and care home?
Don't mind me.
It's always been 6.
Is there a limit to how many people per bedroom?
It's 2 people per bedroom.
All right, so let's assume 2 people per bedroom with 3 bedrooms. And let's talk a little bit about how it is that people pay for their rent here. Mm-hmm. As I understand it, the folks who are living in board and care homes for people with mental health conditions are generally on Social Security disability income. And so they pay what we call the SSI rental rate. Can you describe what that is?
At the beginning when we started, there were people that it depends on how they qualify for the SSI. Some qualify a little bit more and some less. There are people that qualify for $800 at that time, some $900, some $1,000. It all varies. Mm-hmm. And at that time that we started, to us and where we came from, we thought that was a lot of money to collect 6 people, that much amount. So we were excited, and the lady that was here, she had bought 2 properties in Thousand Oaks to start elderly home. Mm. So the time we started, there were people that were $800 a month, but as time goes and the inflation is happening, now the SSI is like a little bit more, like 1,300 or a little bit more.
So let's talk about the current 2023 situation to paint a picture for what you are. But it's interesting to me how you talk about how it could be so unpredictable in the early years, which makes it really hard to try to operate a business. So now if the basic SSI rate is roughly $43 a day or $1,300 a month, that's kind of like the bare minimum that someone is going to pay. And what is it that the county and the state licensing officials expect you to provide someone for $43 a day?
Well, they expect us to provide 3 meals and snacks in between where it's necessary. And they expect us to provide things for the ADLs like soap, shampoo. Sometimes we have to cut their hair because either they don't have family or family are too busy to come here to give them a haircut. And sometimes we take them to the barber shop to have a haircut and do certain things for them. So out of that amount, we provide accommodation, provide meals, provide hygiene products.
Laundry?
Yes, do laundry as well. And anything that is needed for essential life for any normal human being.
And is it required if you operate a licensed board and care home that you also have to have staff on board?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay. So $43 a day also for a staff presence.
Yeah, for a staff. If you are going somewhere, you have to have somebody that have been have a clear background check to work. And then if you have such a person, they're demanding for the minimum wage that the state.
Minimum wage,
Yeah.
yes. And you also have to provide medication management as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Right.
So all that for $1,300 a month. Now, I know that the counties throughout throughout California actually have begun to recognize how fragile this resource is, and there have been attempts to provide supplemental patch money or assistance. There's a new program where in the past couple years, an additional $1,000 a month would be added on top of that $1,300. Can you describe how it is that a person would qualify for that additional $1,000 enriched rate?
What we know about the enrichment program is that person have to be seen by the psychiatrist of the Department of Mental Health of California or County of California, of Los Angeles or wherever county the person is. And we'll have a psychiatrist and we'll have a case manager. But I just find out some of the case managers are not even aware of the residential enrichment program, because I have people that I have had here for a while, and I asked, is it possible for them to get into that? And they were like, what is that? What is that? They're trying to get information from me. So I give them as much information as I know. But it looks like even in the Department of Mental Health, they haven't educated their employees on that itself.
So they're not fully aware of this additional benefit?
No.
So let's come back to the finances in a moment. I want to better understand who lives here. Mm-hmm. Because I think what happens in a lot of the reports that I read about the board and care crisis, there's statistics about payments and how many beds we're losing, but we rarely actually focus on the human beings that are impacted.
I think that's where I'm coming in. Just in addition to what we've discussed, we came into the program, you call it here business, right? Mm-hmm. We never see it as a business. Actually, we just started because it was available. but the money was not the major part because it was not the way come even to now. The one that we're trying to find out about now, there was no news about it at all. We don't know how to go about it. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine the expenditure is going to depend, your income is going to depend on the social worker from the county. And the social worker shows you what he has is just the SSI. There's no month goes by without stressing you out because you have staff to pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing is that because it is a requirement to have this facility with staff ratio, 3 clients to 1 staff.
3 clients to 1 staff.
And that is a requirement that you have to do in those days, even now. So these people are looking for money. I'm not crying here, but these people are working to get money. They have family to take care of. They think you are doing a business. You don't have a business.
Yeah, nobody is getting rich in this space.
No.
Running a facility like this.
As far as I know, as far as I know, this business is not like when you call business. Well, it's a different term.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. I want to explore that a little bit further, Gochin. But first, let's just talk about the 5 people that do live here. One of your residents has been here since 2005, as I understand it. Because we did visit on this before, and I just think about the impact on someone like that gentleman if this were to close and they would have to go some other place in the county, and how dislocating that would be for them. You've got 2 people that came here from another board and care that closed in the San Fernando Valley last year, if I'm not mistaken. And do you know that the particular operator of that board and care, did they close for financial reasons or for age reasons, or just they were exhausted, or why did that operator close their board and care?
Yeah, we know that because we usually have some little meeting and we exchange phone numbers. The financial reason is also a factor because they are working without vacations and without being paid, because basically we are working for free because it's not enough to maintain what we need to sustain the 6 people. If we are to have the 6 people and pay my husband and pay me and my daughter, is not visibly possible. So we are somebody is working for free. So that's how it's been. And that very boarding care that left, she and her husband were doing the same thing like myself and my husband are doing, working for free. And they're aging up as well, mm-hmm. and they're becoming more sickly, and they have to weigh, do we continue working for free and wearing ourselves up more and more, or should we let go this home? And I think they have to take the choice to let go the home, especially those that need more help physically.
Right.
And I think they kind of like try to take permission. Those that are able to function on themselves, they were allowed to keep 1 or 2 to be able to supplement their bills. So out of the honest saying is we are working for free. And when we are aging up and health issue becomes more prominent, then you have to make a hard decision. Even though the bills were being paid, and now you can be able to do what you are able to do. So it's more deficit. You will either just lose yourself totally, and the house is no longer, and the bills are no longer. So that is the problem that led that boarding care to closing. And due to how we were educated about this enrichment residential program, because those 2 people that came from there, they were on this. And that was
So you were able to accept those two residents, and they get to stay together, which is a good thing because they obviously live together, and they come in with the enhanced rate.
Yes.
So now the $2,300 a month for the two new residents.
Yes.
But the other three you have are on the basic SSI rate, and you have one opening. And I understand that one of those residents actually was recently hospitalized. So you're at the moment down to 4. And so you're kind of in a constant, it's like one of those holes that when you try to dig your way out, the sand keeps coming back in again.
Right, right.
So, you mentioned, Rhoda, about how it can be so difficult to make that decision about whether or not to close a family-style board and care. You mentioned the age of your, I don't know if they were friends of yours, but these other operators. As you think about your attachment to the people who live here, and then balance that against your life desires, like as we talked last time, tell me the last time you had a vacation.
We haven't had a vacation. We cannot remember when we had one.
Okay.
There's really, really limited resources for a vacation because we are so focused on providing care for these people. And if we are to prepare for vacation, we will have to provide the resources who will replace us here to take care of the residents. And then how much we need for the vacation is basically a hard choice of financial strength, that how much we will pay for the vacation to travel there and to have somebody to take care of these people that are here. And these people, when they visit their family, they tell their family, I want to go home. This is their home. And it breaks our heart. We kind of like, God, we don't want to be in this type of situation. Somebody is considering this as their home, and you just close the door and say, you cannot live here anymore. So it's a hard choice. We talk about it all the time. And some of these residents, they said, Rhoda, I like it here. Please don't ever kick me out of here. Mm-hmm. They say things like that. And for you to look at the financial part of it, you want to kick them out of here or you want to let them go. And then you think of, will somebody do that for me? Will I like it? And then we put ourselves in their situation and we keep going. Every day we keep going on working for free and trying to put food on the table for somebody that could not afford more.
So let's wander back into this financial quagmire that exists in trying to operate a board and care home. I did a little back of the napkin calculation with the 5 residents that you have, 3 on SSI rate, 2 on the enhanced rate. One of them is gone right now. You have 2 vacancies, but roughly that's $8,500 a month to operate this home, $102,000 a year. And when we talked a few weeks ago and I came up to visit you, we just sketched out the expenses. So we talked about food costs each month. Remember what you said your amount was? About $2,000. And what's your philosophy on food? I loved your philosophy on food.
Well, the food part of it, we try. Sometimes some people have recommended we should go to food pantries, and there are churches that sometimes they cook a meal once in a while and give us here, which is very good. But then we have our mind and our conscience. We don't want to give our residents the food that we will not eat. The food that we eat is the same pot we cook for them, because we cannot pick and choose and say, oh, this is bad food, let's give it to them. And our conscience won't let us do that. we do the best that we want for ourselves. That is what every human being would like the best for themselves. It's just that they are at a situation that they cannot help themselves. And so they are in a system that somebody have to step in there to help them. And this system, we have agreed to come in here, not talking of the financial part of it, that is a big business, we will make money, but for the love of people that are disadvantaged in the society.
They eat the same food you eat.
Yes.
And we also talked about supplies around $2,000 a month. You're paying for toilet paper and hygiene products and soap and all the other things that are required to keep a home going. Utilities, I thought was pretty low at $1,000 a month, especially as we start to get into hot summers with air conditioning.
Yeah, we just had the air condition guy came here and serviced both air condition, and he comes twice a year. And each time they step here, their traveling fee is $100, and which is increasing, like everything have increased. It's now 100 and something. And then if he changed the filter or he added the freon or whatever that needs to keep this system going smoothly for the comfort of the residents, we have to pay.
So we haven't even talked about capital improvements, repairs,
never comes.
Gardening. We haven't talked about your insurance or your state license fee, but already, and then also the requirement that you have a caregiver. You mentioned that you provide your caregiver a place to live, but you also pay this person $2,000 a month. So we are at $7,000 before we got into all the other things, including the mortgage and including a second trust deed you took out to do, or a home equity loan, because you wanted to improve the bathroom for the residents and upgrade the kitchen. So you're way in the red. Mm-hmm. How are you financing this right now?
Hey, I don't know.
As we said, we are working for free, and for my husband and myself, we are now on fixed income. So sometimes we have to write a check for some of the bills from our own fixed income to keep the home running.
So you're technically tapping into your retirement.
Oh, yeah.
You have foregone vacations. Do you get to go out on a date night ever?
Not yet. We have been married 40-something years and haven't yet.
What?
I think anyone listening to this, like, yes, come, be in, it's not a business, do this work. Who would do this today? Now that, to me, is also a concern, because what I hear, and I look at you, that you're both healthy, right? You mentioned how some operators, as they get to a certain point in their life, it's just difficult for them to, it takes a lot of energy to manage a house like this. And we didn't point out that you also manage a home for the elderly next door. That will be the topic of another conversation. But also what I think about is, I hear so often from parents of adult children with mental illness who are also getting older. They worry about where are their adult children going to live if they die. And tell me about the parents of the adults who live here.
The worst part of it, in my feeling, you have a mother who has about, that was some few years ago, have about 50-something years old young man, and this person cannot sit unless he's sleeping, otherwise he will be yelling, he will be bouncing his head. So we have to use a kind of mattress just to make sure that the whole wall in the room is covered, otherwise. Now, why I'm bringing this story is because the mother, who is at that time almost 78, she is taking this man for Christmas.
Took him home for Christmas?
And I look at this woman, and from Africa we don't cry, right? Remember this. But there are tough things that just before you cry, you just don't know. So I just look at it and I said, how we are trying to take care of these individuals. We know this is the mother. How is she going to manage this person on her own? The situation that outsiders, the people who take care of us, like the county, they don't see it. They've never seen something like that. So I just said, we're going to let the staff go spend 3 days with her. Who will pay? The staff. And it's so sad to see this woman on her age bringing out tears.
Mm.
You will not ask her for any money. Why would you? Because she couldn't have it. So in this job that we're talking about, it's a difficult job.
Yeah, it strikes me as I listen to the two of you, Rhoda and Gochin, that basically what the government has done is they have vested in your care some of the most challenging people with serious mental illness, and they have basically expected you to tap into your personal resources to make ends meet and to sacrifice your free time, your leisure time, and your well-being. This is really not sustainable.
I think they know.
So I want to also raise a comment just to help our listeners understand that this particular home is for people with mental illness.
Yes.
But there is another type of board and care for people who live with intellectual disabilities.
Right.
And in the state of California, the Department of Developmental Services, which manages the statewide regional center system, which is a system of agencies that people with intellectual disabilities, which would be people with mental retardation or Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, they also can live in board and care homes.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have come to understand is that the state has supplemented the daily rate for regional center clients in such a way that feels almost breathtaking. I just saw a letter that was sent to me by a board and care operator in South LA. He wrote to his assembly member saying that he would be willing to open his home to people with mental illness, but he can't do it for $43 a day when the minimum rate for somebody attached to the regional center system is $200 a day. Mm-hmm. So I did a little back of the napkin calculation. If you had 5 residents living here receiving a regional center rate of $200 a day, that would be $365,000 a year as compared to $102,000 a year, which is what you are receiving. Now, Gochin, I know you used to work with regional center clients. You just explained some of the challenges that you have with people you have living here. What justifies such a gargantuan increase in rates for people living with intellectual disabilities in board and care homes?
You know, here, my wife can always say, when we do the intake, you realize that this person belongs to regional center. But the family of this individual were unable to have their loved one being taken care of by the regional center. All what they have is the group home.
So they never were able to have their loved one declared a client of the regional center?
No. So we end up getting it. And so the level of care is high, but there's no money. And so the next door person has regional center, which is getting much more better. I'm not jealous. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying the reality. Regional center is getting more. Group home is getting less. they take care of people, and because of the level of care, is not always accurate. Is sometimes you find out that this person is not for group home, because you can handle this guy for group home, right?
So what you're saying, let me see if I can understand this, that there are some residents in a board and care for people with mental illness that should be qualified under regional center rates.
Yes.
They never were able to actually get into the system.
Yeah.
So you're providing the same level of care for those people
Yes.
at the $43 a day, roughly. And Gochin, I mean, you used to work in doing assessments for the regional center system. Again, what would be is there a higher staffing requirement in homes for people with intellectual disabilities? What is the basis for the extremely different rate?
The same.
The same work.
The same work.
The 3 meals a day,
Yes.
snacks, laundry, medication, providing the caregiver. Yeah.
The same work. The same thing.
Yeah, probably their staffing is a little bit more than, I'm not sure, but I think
The ratio.
the ratio is
The ratio is more because of the label. The label is much more a difficult client is here, and that is the label for regional center. Anywhere for regional center, the level of care is higher, and that is the label. Without knowing that anybody from the group home has also that challenges, but then you will end up getting that, and you just have to, because that person's supposed to be somewhere. Regional center is not taken care of, so who else?
And one last thing, and I think probably I need to do more exploration into the regional center system. Why, if you have somebody living here who may have a co-occurring issue, mental illness and a developmental disability, intellectual disability, why is it hard to get them accepted into the regional center system now as an adult?
Social workers.
Social workers. They don't want to do this.
They make a decision.
Okay, so there's an assessment done and there's a decision made, yay or nay. It would seem that it also could possibly be economic, because this system must be costing the state of California a lot of money. Is it possible, and you may not know the answer to this question, to have a hybrid? It would seem that if you had a hybrid of some regional center clients and clients under the county mental health system in the same house, that possibly the additional rates would offset, but they probably don't allow mixing?
No, we are not allowed to do that. To do the regional center, you have to be vendored by the regional center. I think that's like a private type of entity in the government, that they watch on people that have been diagnosed with some type of the mental illness and some developmental disability before age 18. And those that their own was not catch until after age 18, then they are pushed into the mental illness situation. But those that they catch their own before age 18, they get more
into the regional center system.
Yeah, so that's the difference. But as we know, every human being, we have the same need of eating, using the bathroom, taking shower, wearing clothes, and staying focused to do something. At least you have a plan for the day. Oh, I wake up in the morning, I'll shower, I'll eat breakfast, I go to work, I do this and come back home. But if you are of the disability type that you could not do those functional things, then you are either pushed into mental illness or into the regional center. But it's the same type of livelihood. You have to live life like everybody else. Yeah. And somebody have to direct you, somebody have to help you, somebody have to probably put a hands on prompting you. Let's go this, let's go take a shower, let's go shave, let's go eat, let's go this.
It's the same work. I failed to clarify, where exactly do you live right now?
We live here.
You live here, okay. And I know you have 2 homes. You have the home for the elderly next door. You have 3 bedrooms for your clients. Where is your bedroom?
Our bedroom is here.
In the other house.
The elderly where they need more help.
Okay. And what, like, I hope everyone listening to this podcast who just took a vacation, is planning a vacation, is planning to go out to dinner with their girlfriend or boyfriend or loved one or husband, wife tonight, grasps the extreme sacrifice you're making to take care of these people. Can you just describe for me how you take care of yourselves? Like, how do you get a little time for a nap or to do something that matters to you?
I think it's a question that we tried to develop that, but it has never worked. Some of the behavior we got here, and I just want to touch those mental health situations that we have. In here, you find out they can take the remote and purposely block the toilet with.
Throw it in the toilet.
Throw the remote into the toilet?
And then they want to make sure the body language. So you have to be very attentive. They will tell you something is wrong in the house. They are not going to come out and say, I did this over here. And they will look at you like this. What's wrong with this TV? Yeah, what's wrong with this TV? And then you will, now you've been working here, so you want to know, why is it this TV? Something is wrong. So sometimes my wife will discover, do you know something about TV, the remote? You're going to find that in a place where if you follow them gradually, they will show you where the remote is.
So it takes constant vigilance. Yeah.
And that's just to tell you that you are not free just to enjoy you are. There's no freeness. It's always tight. In the middle of the night, you will be here. Somebody we can live anywhere. Even some of the staff that we have here, they can handle situations.
They're going to come wake you up.
No, we allow them to do that because we cannot say don't wake us up.
Yeah, like for example, last Monday, I personally went to bed at 11:30 in the night because before I go to bed, I go around and check, make sure everybody is in their room. The TV is either off or I can let them watch the TV and make sure everywhere is locked, everything is safe. And I went to bed about 11:30 p.m. and it was 3 a.m. There was a knock. Somebody has punched the caregiver because he was making noises. He went to the room and was cursing the other resident, you this, using the F word and telling them to get out of bed. And so the staff went and tried to say, don't do this, and he punched the staff, and the staff have to run and come and get us up. So we went out to calm this person up, and we have to call the police, we have to do all those things. He already broke stuff in the refrigerator, the clock was down, broken, we have to replace all those things. And so you go to bed at 11:30 at night, at 3 a.m. you are being waken up. So how many hours of sleep is that? That's about 3 hours, 12, 1, 2, 3.5 hours of sleep. And then in the morning, you have to make sure everybody is okay, everybody has showered, they have eaten, they got their medicine, ready to go to the adult day center. And it's like an ongoing situation that even if I have a plan to go for dinner or to go out for a date, I'll probably be tired for that activity. So that's how it is. But to make the day not eventful, we try to screen as much as we can to make sure we have people that their medication have been managed properly, they are behaving a little bit better, not breaking stuff, not being violent. And like the other people, that guy went to their bedroom and was using curse word, telling them to get out of bed. The other person said, oh, it was so shady, I was scared. I didn't want somebody to yell like that. It makes me afraid. Then I'm like, yeah, he was sick. You just have to understand that it was something that made him do that. And the sickness, let's keep praying that it doesn't affect everybody. And that can be a trigger point. Let's say the other people started acting up too while he was doing that. The house will be
chaos.
Yeah, it wouldn't be livable. So you are trying to calm this person that is out of control, and you are trying to bring peace, to bring comfort to the other people that they didn't do anything. They were just sleeping, and he was cursing them, telling them to get out of their bed. So it can be very challenging, and you want to throw out the towel. But then you look at it, oh, this family is telling me, thank you very much. My brother have a place to have a home to live.
Yeah.
And then how could you do that? Then you pick up the pieces and you start going again for another day, praying and hoping for a better day every day.
So it brings me to the final couple questions, which are really important.
Yeah.
And you really don't have to answer these. I don't really think anyone would expect you to answer this on a podcast, but it does beg the question, Rhoda and Gochin. You have like 4 people now, 2 open beds technically. You could bring in 2 more people. You know, a lot of people who will listen to this podcast are going to be people who are in a position to make decisions. I know who listens to this podcast. And if you wanted to say something about what would it take to actually keep a place like this going for the benefit of those people that you care so deeply about, and it's so evident that you care deeply for them, what do you want people to hear? What would it take?
I will start. I wish and I pray or hope that somebody will consider the unfortunate people in the society, because I don't think anybody put a price or paid money to get this mental illness or to get the intellectual disability. It's something that is an unfortunate thing that happened to them. So if people can get out of their way to do the best, to make these people live a life that they did not choose, make them live comfortable, make them belong to the society, that will be very good. Than just putting them behind, oh, you have mental illness, you stay there, you can eat rotten food from the dustbin, from the trash can, oh, you stay, you don't need to wear good clothes, you can just go to the bin, the Salvation Army, and buy something. Oh, you don't need some shoes. No. It's a situation that nobody chose. It happened to them. So we should treat human beings with dignity. If the government have limited resources, well, let that limited resources be shared. Just like when you have children, you won't feed some children and don't feed the others because, oh, you are younger, you stay here. You are older and you are more smarter, you eat this food. It's not fair. I will say, I wish they consider this and treat people in their situation, but don't add a burden to them. They are already in a position that they wish they are not there. Can we make it less burdensome for them if we are in authority to do that?
Beautifully said, Rhoda. I think your words are very convicting. Gochin, what would you say?
You can see our situation, and only for you to understand that there are certain area or certain places that we should have got the help. Do you see my point here? Mm-hmm. I feel strongly, spiritually strongly, that we are entitled to get the help that we needed. In our life here, you are the only two that one will testify.
If you're only two, what?
Two that you are concerned to approach us on this field and thinking you will find a way to help. That's it since we started. We have never started. Somebody has never cared to say, how are you guys doing?
Okay.
What is it going on? What is your problem? We know we have placed people here, but how are you doing?
How are you doing? Yeah.
This is the first time.
This is the first time you've been asked?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
This is the first time. And so what we call suffering in silence. And for how long? We are never ready to give up. But if there is a way that some people are getting and we are doing the same service, why don't we get the help?
I want to express my gratitude to both of you for being willing to share the story today, because you put a human face on the statistical reports that we keep reading. I just got the report from June of 2023. The county has been keeping track of the inventory of board and care beds going back to 2016. Just in the last 9 months, we've lost 157 beds in LA County, and that is a total of 1,900 beds since they started keeping track in 2016. And you've got 6 beds here. When we count just beds, it sounds so sterile and anonymous, but when we actually think about the people that you have living here and the way that you are caring for them and the families who are so grateful that you are here, it takes on a whole different level. So I can't thank you enough for being willing to tell the story. I know it is going to have impact, and I don't know what your decision is going to be for the future. I do wish you a huge vacation at some point in the future, and I hope that is attainable. And I just want to finally say, God bless both of you for your caring heart and for taking care of these people with such dignity and love. Rhoda and Gochin are standing at the precipice of a decision that is consequential on so many levels. At what point do they, as Gochin suggests, throw in the towel? But how to communicate that decision to the residents who consider this their home and to the families who are grateful, knowing that their loved one is in a safe place? My question for you, the listener, is this: what would you do? But I hope this interview raises other questions that we can place on the agenda of policymakers in the state, the county, and the city. For example, why is there such a disparity between the daily rate afforded to care for clients of the regional center system and clients of the mental health system? Why can't the enriched care payments afforded to some, the $1,000 a month that 2 of their residents receive from the county in the story we shared, apply to all their residents? Why do we not hear any local or state government official committing to zero net loss of any more board and care beds in the midst of this crisis? Where is the emergency fund that should exist to purchase these homes slated for closure? Who is thinking about a new business model for how to own and operate these facilities? Though this interview focused upon a small family-style home, I haven't yet talked about the larger facilities that have also been closing. The episode notes for this podcast provides links to recent reports from the City of Los Angeles, the county, and some articles about how this is a crisis unfolding throughout the entire state of California. There is also a link to a petition being circulated by the Los Angeles Residential Care Association, LARCA, seeking a one-time infusion of cash to assist our board and care operators. Thank you for listening, welcome back, and I'll see you next time.